Good morning, it's J.W.'s Radio. It's Saturday morning, that's right. And this is a cold one this morning. So I got a warm coffee. Good to have on a Saturday morning for J.W.'s Radio. So have your coffee. Okay. We got some neat things to do this time around. So we got some stuff. We even got some interesting targets. Play a little game, I guess. A little something. Well, we'll get to that. All right. So let's get to the shout outs, and I've actually had a question, or somebody had asked me how do the shout outs on this channel, on the JW's Radio work, by leaving a comment on the previous JW's Radio, or as this one airs, you can leave a comment on this one and it gets you to a shout out to the next JW's Radio. All right. The shout outs, this is just something that I wanted to do. You know, it's just it's something that is pretty easy so far to incorporate into these. But the main objective to the JW's Radio is to get you guys up to speed, give you guys a little backstory, insights on what's going on here. All right, but I always love doing the shout outs and take the time to do this and incorporate it in there. So we have Mr. Holster. Speaking of Mr. Holster, this is the hat I won from his sock show. Okay, I have the Gun Enthusiast, the Glock 17, Stephen Bush, Eli Faust, Varen, Bob, Edward Petty, Brian 123458, Arizona Ghost Riders, the Cowboy on YouTube, another cowboy. He does some pretty cool stuff with the Wild West and the history of that, so make sure you check that out. Really cool stuff if you're into the Wild West and the history like I am. I'm just like, and of course he adds a lot of cool humor, and there's a lot of cool facts that you can learn about it that you may not know. All right, Joe P. Thank you, Joe P, for being here. And the Gunfighter 45 ACP, JSS Haas, 454 Packer, EB Saint, Jeff Bayers, James Drennan, 19 BMW 91, Scott F, and Trees A-Blowin'. Trees A-Blowin' is the guy that sent me the Smith & Wesson shoulder holster for the Model 29 6-inch barrel. Really cool. Thank you, Trees. All right. Videos that we did this week, we did 1911 versus 1911, in a sense, kind of like, well, what does that mean? I wanted to do a video that was kind of a rundown on what features does the 1911 have and what are you paying for, in a sense, and what does those upgrades mean, by showing the very early model, like a World War I style pistol, all the way up to the A1 and so far. Wow, you know, because I remember early on when I was buying a 1911, that's what I always wanted, was the GI model. I wanted that old school military looking gun. And of course I was told, oh man, you don't want that one up by a gun dealer. You don't want that one, that's a horrible gun. It sucks. But, you know, and I'm like, wow, really? Like I was getting like this almost like, in a sense, negative feedback on it. But I wanted it for my reasons, and as I got into the gun business, I realized that I don't ever want to deter somebody's purchase if whatever they have their heart or whatever set on, and that's what they want. Of course, unless if they ask you what you think is best, you know, I'll give them a couple pointers here and there, but not try to make the decision for them. But you know, you never know why that person wants that particular gun. If they're dead set on having it, they want it. You know, maybe it's something that they brought back from their, you know, childhood memories. You know, this is what them and their dad shot, or them and their grandpa shot, or something, and that's what the family had, or something like that. You never know what it could be. For instance, like for me, the movie Witness and Model 10 Snubby, or pre-Model 10 Snubby at that. You know, if you guys have been around my channel long enough, you remember that video, Story of a Gun, episode number 1. That was kind of, you know, and then if I was going out looking for that gun and somebody told, oh, you know, it sucks, you don't want that gun, I would have felt like, man, seriously, like, but I'm determined, I wanted it. I was not going to let that, you know, shy me away from getting it. But anyway, what I'm saying is, in the 1911 thing, you know, I really liked the GI model. That's what I wanted. that's what I went after. And even though, despite I was told, you know, it's not a very good gun, blah blah blah, I bought it. It's actually one of my favorite guns. Is the original government model style Series 80 pistol. Even though I was told that you don't want the Series 80, you know, nonsense. Honestly, my favorite Colt blaster to take to the range is that Series 80, that government model. It's just, I love taking that thing to the range and shooting, just shooting steel or whatever down range. So we have to do that again sometime. So give you a close-up look at that baby. All right. So, and then speaking of a lot of that and Colts and everything, I did a video called Collectible Colt and its collectability. I really wish this is, I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have this this story insane. I should have bought a lot more Colt Pythons and such back when I was buying, which was not very long ago. I was about 5 or 6 years. I just didn't have any idea that they would turn into what they've turned into. I had no idea that they were going to be this collectible, expensive gun. I mean, I knew they were collectible, but I didn't. What I meant is I remember when I first bought mine, the first one, and he said, the guy told me, he said, you know, this is a smart move to buy this, and I tell you, when this thing turns to $3,000, you should sell it. And I said, $3,000? I said, no way. Nobody is going to pay $3,000 for one of these things. Well, boy, was I wrong, because now they are in that range, and I tell you, I can't. There's no way you could buy. I could buy one right now at that price. I can't do it. No way. So, but at the same time, you know, if you're going to collect these things, it's, you know, what was said to me too is you got to jump on the wagon at some point. You got to get in there in that game and jump in that ring and get yourself one at some point, because they're only going to go higher as time marches on and they start to get more scarce. They are going to go higher, and it's an investment. It is an investment. You know, some people put their money in a savings account and that's it. You get a piece of paper and there's some numbers on it. Some people invested into guns. Like I've invested some of my money into guns, okay? That's mostly where my investments went. But, you know, I guess the difference for me, instead of looking on a piece of paper and seeing some numbers, I can go in my safe and break out this thing and look at it, admire it, handle it, hold it, feel it, touch it. I think one of our gun shops in town has that slogan. But that's the difference. And you know what? We're going to do a video on that, because some people just do not understand owning a gun that you do not shoot. Well, again, sometimes it's an investment. It would be like, do you spend your savings account? Do you just go and just take half your savings and go to Vegas? Anyway. But yes, that Colt and collectible, I always say Colt is like code name for cash, because it just... Alright, what's in the box? We did a video called What's in the Box. That was a video, idea that was kicking around on this channel for a long time, since its beginning. In fact, I had contacted a fellow YouTuber gun enthusiast about the idea in the beginning. I don't know if he remembers this. I'm not sure if the gun enthusiast will remember this. But if you are watching, brother, I don't know if you remember that. But I asked you about that idea, and it never actually... That video never came to the channel, I believe. We had filmed one or two, you know, we had filmed some. I remember we did film some of those What's in the Box things. But they never actually got published, and I think they just wound up getting scrapped and tossed out. And so it wasn't until recently that it made a little resurgence, and we're like, okay, let's do this. Okay, well, let's put it together, and we did, and we filmed it, and yeah, and out it came. There it is. I think the box has changed. The box went from, let's see, what was the early ones? The early ones was an old one of those old Spam can boxes that would come full of ammo. I think it was like they call it Garand food. I think it was 30-06. That was the box for a while. Then one time it was this big army box. It was like this big box with locking handles and everything. That we used that. That was a heavy box. We gotten rid of that. I think that box may have made an appearance in the early videos. It's a giant military, heavy, strong box with the locking. It's like an ammo box or something. But we had our. I put the BATJAC J.W logo on it. Name, but yeah, we got rid of that box, and now the box that we used is the box that my friend put together for me, and it basically was my idea. He's a woodworker. He put it together, and I distressed it and stained it and varnished it and everything myself. It's a really neat box, and so that's the one we wound up using. But yeah, that idea was like kicking around for quite some time. But I'm glad you like it, and it seemed to have gotten well received, and also it gives a little backstory, something personal on the story, you know, things that are in that box, but it leaves you guessing what's in that box. Short and sweet videos. I want to keep them short and sweet if I can, and moving along. Alright, so the movie in question this time is a John Wayne movie called McHugh. It's one of my favorite movies. McHugh is an interesting story because if you ask me, I think this was a response that John Wayne did because he was offered the role of Dirty Harry, and he turned it down, and obviously we all know the history with Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood got it and launched Clint Eastwood into orbit for his stardom, as he was already partway there. But I think Dirty Harry put him just on the top shelf. It finally just grabbed him from that step below and put him on the top shelf, and that was it. Because from that point on, throughout the 70s and 80s, I think Clint Eastwood dominated box office. Every movie he made was just good gold movie stuff. So McHugh came out in '74. That would be, what is it? Dirty Harry '71. So 3 years later. And I think it's good because it's good in a way. It's not it's not a copy of Dirty Harry at all, in a sense. This is a whole different storyline, and I love the story of McHugh because you don't really actually know what's going on. His partner got wasted. He's trying to figure out why, and then there's a little mix-up with things. And actually, without trying to give away too much of the movie, he resigns from being a cop, and so through the entire halfway through the movie, he's no longer a police officer, and he's acting as a private investigator. So it's really interesting. Now, the other interesting thing about this movie is just how many different firearms the Duke had. Everybody knows he has that Ingram, that Mac 11 or Mac 10 machine pistol with the suppressor onto it. Okay, that's obviously the most notorious thing. But in the beginning, he has a 4-inch barreled or 6-inch barreled Python, I believe. It's a Colt Python, and then because he shoots this guy on the docks with it. They say, oh, you need to surrender that for evidence or something. So he gives it to that guy, goes to his Green Hornet, and opens up the trunk, gets in that little side compartment, like a little James Bond compartment, pulls out I think it's a Colt Python snubby or something, puts that in, it's like, wow. Yeah, here I am reaching in the screen, I want that, give me that. Carries that for a while, and then he... I think, yeah, okay, so then he surrenders when he goes in. He says he resigns from the police department, turns in his badge and his Python snubby, and then he goes back and he goes into his boat and grabs a Smith & Wesson Model 10 snubby and he posters that. So now he's running around with that, and then while he's going through some things, they confiscate it from him. They take it from him, so he surrenders that. And what does he do? He goes to the gun shop and buys what? What does he buy at the gun shop? He buys, I'll give you a minute, he buys a Browning High Power 9mm, and he carries that through the remainder of the movie, and then of course acquiring at the same time the infamous Ingram machine gun. So, submachine gun, machine pistol. So, really neat movie. It's got Alaterry in it as well as the notorious bad guy. Alaterry always plays a bad guy, usually. I liked him always in Mr. Majestic with Charles Bronson. He's Frank Renda, I believe that's who he played. He's always He's always that bad guy. It's interesting that Alatari in Mr. Majestic and The Getaway with Steve McQueen, Alatari carries a Colt Python 6-inch barrel. I don't, maybe it's his thing. And also it's got Clu Gulager. I think that's how he say his name. Clu Gulager is that actor that has a distinctive voice. I think it's something about his voice. It's almost like, for me, when you see his face and you hear his voice. I mean, if you heard his voice separately, you know who it is. If you put them together, you're just like, what? That's him? It's weird. It's almost like you're just not expecting that. So it's really strange, but and he is still alive to this day. I think he's like 90 years old. Good for that man. Alright, the other cool thing is I got a book here that was sent to me. And it's a really neat book. And speaking of John Wayne, this is Duke in his own words. And I think it's really awesome. Because it's a bunch of letters and quotes and pictures of him throughout his life that really was just... And I remember seeing this and I always thought, wow, that would be a cool book to have. So I really like it. And it's been really interesting to see all these quotes. And here's a great quote right here. I just popped it open, just happened to see it. He says, "I'm a greedy old man. Life's been good to me, and I want more of it." And you know, I think too the sad thing was his last. He was at the one of those awards right before he passed away. He said. It's his birthday soon or something, but he he was hoping to celebrate more birthdays and stick around. He kind of likes being around here, and the Duke is just an amazing guy to me. What an amazing American, an amazing actor, you know, on screen. Really neat guy, and believed in what he did, unlike the actors today. All right. So what do we have? We have the target that we were going to talk about. This is the target from the last radio. We actually, I forgot to bring it on the table last time, so we just kind of did an intro to the radio show with it. This is the target from the Ruger Blackhawk video that we shot on camera and in the video and signed it and everything like that. So it's got some bullet holes, 5 bullet holes to be exact, 38 special. Okay, and I said to leave a comment below that you wanted in on that target. So we have wow, we have 5 people that wanted it. That's really cool. If somebody wants it, that's pretty awesome. The last one we did, we raffled off, went to Mr. Rory James. So hopefully Mr. Rory James, if you were watching, hopefully you're enjoying it. So there was a complicated issue with that because Mr. Rory James is in the UK, and it was hard to get it out there, and it actually came back to me, and so I had to resend it back out. So because of that issue and time things and everything, I do have to do this in the U.S. only, unfortunately, just because of the issues with doing so. All right. So I have 454 Packer, Glock 17, Edward Petty, Scott F., and Bob Hartman. And I'm going to put them all in the hat. Drawing targets for a target. Okay, so there we go. Everybody's in there. Alright, go ahead and mix it up. Here, way off camera, you can see. I can't see it. Alright. Go in there. I'm not going to look. Mix them all up. And who do we have? Oh, okay. We have Edward Petty. That's right. Edward Petty. You have won the target. And so, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for entering. And thank you for everybody that was entering. And I'll get that sent out to you. If you do like this kind of stuff, and I do want to do more giveaway things, if I can find anything that I can basically slip into an envelope, put a stamp on it, and mail it out to you, I'm going to do so. I want to do more of that on this channel, on this video, the JW's Radio. I really do. I want to give you guys more and more stuff, the cool little things that you can get out of here. And I really do want to do that. And so keep, appreciate it, keep tuning in, and I'll get more stuff. Maybe we'll get more prizes so we can do like 2 giveaways. So everybody has like 2 chances or something. So, okay, what's under? Oh, there's nothing there. You know why? Because it wouldn't fit under there. Before we close it out, I have my lever action rifle. You didn't think I owned a rifle, did you? Okay, this is the Rossi R92. Big loop like John Wayne, 16-inch barrel, 45 Colt, lever action, top eject. This is about as close as it gets to the old school Winchesters, and without breaking the bank. Love this rifle. This is definitely a really cool throwback for sure. You know, got to have that large loop. Always wanted that for the John Wayne look. But like I said, without breaking the bank, this is a really good option. Now, the only thing that I could say that is different on this one, and I know the older ones did not have it, it's got that funky safety on the top here. I think, what is it? Yeah, I think you got to cock the hammer to operate it, because I think when the hammer's down, it won't go. But aside from that, that's about it. Other than that, this is a really, really good option. And I like the fact that it's inexpensive. The same thing with my single action pistols. Now you guys know I love Colt and all that, but this is it just, when you come down to it, money. If this thing were to be like a $2,000 rifle and it hitting the ground, or if we rested it up against something and it slid and hit the ground, it would just be horrifying. And these are the guns, these cowboy guns are the guns I like to be able to take out and really just have fun with them, and shoot them and do everything with them. And you know, they get a little wear here and there, which is fine. That's okay, and that's what I like about this thing. It's fine. I'm not worried that if it gets a scratch or a blemish on it. In fact, it gives it more character, if you ask me. So yeah, 16-inch barrel. I think it holds 8 rounds, 45 Colt, and there's something cool about having a lever gun in the same caliber as your 6 gun. That's just something really awesome. I went in there myself and actually polished the insides on the action to make it a little bit more smooth, because it was a little rough. I mean, it would break in eventually, but I took it apart and went in there and just kind of smooth out, you know, just made things a little bit more slick in there and helped it out a little bit. But steel back plate, and of course I even kept the little leather piece right there on the saddle ring. It does get in the way, so if I do go shoot it or something, sometimes I take this off before I go. It does get in the way, but it's really fun, and I love the fact that it top ejects. That's something for me I have to have. I don't like the stuff that side ejects. It's just not right. I love the top eject because I always have that vision of the cowboy in the movie when he's shooting his lever action rifle, those shells popping straight up in the air and landing on his hat and rolling off. And that's nice to have that big rim on your hat so the shell doesn't go down your shirt or something. So yes, that's the cool rifle, and it's been on the channel here and there. In fact, it's made a few appearances here and there. So the Rossi R92, really cool rifle. And yeah, that's gonna be it. Wrap up the show, and thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Edward, I'll get that out to you, and like I said, keep tuning in. I want to do more giveaway stuff here. I want to put more stuff in the channel and in this JW's radio for you guys, the radio heads that are watching this stuff. So I want to make sure that I get something in there for you. So enjoy your weekend, be safe, and well, we'll see you tomorrow. What video we're going to do tomorrow? Hopefully we got a video tomorrow. Thanks for watching.